Would you watch a show where a billionaire CEO has to go an entire month on their lowest paid employee's salary, without access to any other resources than that of the employee? What do you think would happen? 3 months minimum and I'd watch it. There was this similar themed show in Hong Kong and mainland China years ago. They swapped billionaire with bottom feeders, let the rich do the basic job, on the lowest salary, to see how far the rich could go by purely their own effort. Nearly all of the billionaire admitted that they could not make anywhere, regardless of how hard they worked. Even working without sleeping and resting could not give you any accumulation to help climb up to the higher level of the society. There was only despair, and admission that the divide between the poor and the rich is already a deep valley and mere personal effort makes little sense. It stirred big debate among the society back then, and I think that was part of the reason the show got cancelled. There was also another show in China, swapping senior political figures with community-level council workers, to see how good they could do in each other's posts. The mayors were flooded by the angry mobs who kept asking for more and more benefits that were impossible to fulfill. By the end had to admit the amount of work at basic community level was too much to achieve anywhere. The show also got cancelled quite soon after a few episodes. I love reality shows, so I'd watch it depending on who produces it. If it's too fake, with too many emotional moments, advertising and people shouting, I'm out. It's more than just the money. It's the lack of security these people endure. Not knowing if you'll lose your job tomorrow and having no savings. Being kicked out of your home. An unexpected bill you can't afford, which may lead to increasing debt. Putting these rich people in a poor lifestyle for a month isn't enough. Even if they lost their money and homes, they'll have such a huge network that they'll be back on their feet in the time it takes for us peons to earn enough to eat for a week. They can never truly understand what it's like to be poor or ever face that reality again. So what would happen? It'd be a completely self-serving advert about how now I realize that we need to do more for our employees. The workers get a small vanity bonus, probably give an immigrant worker with limited English a car, pat themselves on the back. Then 2 weeks later, we've all forgotten about the show and they'll go back to their old ways. It would be incredibly self-serving and boring. They would never truly experience what it is like to be in the precarious position of a minimum wage employee living hand to mouth, and the novelty is just salt in the wound. It would be more interesting to see the reverse. Sure. They would never do that though, because then they would have to admit that they don't pay a living wage. Lots of rich people voluntarily go on vacation to third world countries. The catch is, they know they have a way out and an end date. I'd be interested to watch a show where the CEO had to personally be financially responsible for the welfare of 50% of their lowest paid employees for 10 years, and their net growth percentage equaled their bonus every year, with a big bonus if both the company and the employees were profitable at the end. I doubt a month is enough to really feel the effect. They'd be fine. The problem with poverty is not usually day-to-day costs. People can adjust to that. It's unexpected expenses that are crippling. Isn't this almost the same as Secret Millionaire? Do you guys have that in the US? I do more than a month and without any contact to rich buddies either. If it's a month, I think a lot would just buy rice and beans every day and go see? It's super easy to be poor. You just need to make economical choices. I've proven myself right. Longer than that and they'll really have to get used to how their lowest paid employees live. Would they learn a lesson? Maybe. Likely not. They still have a mansion to come back home to. They'll give their lowest paid people a one-time bonus, or maybe they'll drag one out in front of a camera to give them a fancy car so their own reputation gets better. And then they won't change anything else. I think a lot of people would realize the exact opposite of what they think will happen. They will realize how resourceful, intelligent, and motivated they are at managing their situation in order to come out ahead. This definitely grabs people's attention because they probably scoff at rich people thinking how easy their life must be with money, and how lazy or unmotivated they are. So working a 9 to 5 out a show and real struggle. But a lot of these people who amass large fortunes aren't as moronic, lazy, or ignorant as people would love to believe. They would just treat it as a novelty since they know they will be getting their billions back at the end of the month. They wouldn't have to truly live like a person does who lives hand to mouth every day of their lives. They wouldn't really learn anything from it. In fact, they would probably look back on it and laugh, "Oh, remember when we had to eat that can of ravioli, ha ha ha." 1 month isn't long enough because no rent is due, etc. I know this is hard to fathom for the Reddit stupid hate train for the rich, but most of them are smarter and worked harder than you when they were younger, which is why they are in the place that they are in now and you're not. So I imagine they'll manage just fine. No. I hate all reality TV that doesn't feature Gordon Ramsay. To be honest, they would probably be fine. I think it depends on the billionaire. Somehow I don't see Elon Musk being impacted very much since Hess had to sleep on office floors at Tesla to get his latest factory up and running. If you made Bloomberg live like the plebs, I'd thoroughly enjoy watching that. They'd go for war that was hard. Well, I've learned my lesson. It sucks to be poor, and go back to being rich. And be even richer from the royalties and residuals from the show. So nah. They'd give their employees a 25-cent raise and pat themselves on the back. A show? Heck no. A 10-minute YouTube video of the highlights? Heck yeah. An essential element that's missing here is a sense of hopelessness. And that can only come from time. It's not very challenging to survive knowing you're home free in a month. Take away the hope and make this an unknown quantity, say 3 to 6 months, but they won't know, and you've got yourself a reasonable life swap. Added bonus, have a worker take the CEO's job. The CEO would use it as a way to boost public opinion, and that one specific employee would get a heartwarming raise at the end and nothing else would happen, just like on Undercover Boss. A lot of owner CEOs came, for example Jobs or Bezos, came from less than well-to-do families, so for them this would be nothing more than a throwback Thursday. For the hired CEO types with a diploma from a good school, they might have come from upper, middle class families or low-income families, so I bet they won't be that far removed from reality, although they may have come a long way since then. Most CEOs have an unbelievable work ethic, otherwise they would not have gotten that far. Would this experience open their eyes to troubles faced by their employees? Perhaps. But to me this reeks like part schadenfreude and part poverty porn and is useless reality TV. Tons of companies force executive-level managers to begin working at shop floor at the bottom of the company ranks, even for a few months before switching to the role they were hired for. This program should be stimulated across different industries if possible. But keep reality TV out of it. Hell yeah, I would. I'd also watch a show where bitches like Paris Hilton or Ivanka Trump have to work a normal job for 3 months and live off of it in an apartment with several other bitches just like her. Would be an eye-opener for them and all the rich snobs watching what 95% of us deal with at some point in our lives. I would, but no CEO has time for that. A day in the life could work. What a great chance to mock the poor and distract the rest of us while legitimizing billionaires. 12 months, and only if they can't get their money back if they are in the negative at the end of the 12 months until they get back into the positive. I suspect the CEOs would do pretty well. They aren't CEOs because they're lazy, unintelligent. They probably work harder and find more opportunities than the average person. How many billionaire CEOs do you think would do this? Specifically looking for billionaires is quite a narrow range. It'd end up being like that other show with a similar premise. They'd find a way to frame it as an endorsement of class separation capitalism with the CEO ultimately portrayed as a hero. I'd frankly rather not even risk more of that kind of propaganda. Everyone already understands perfectly well that they are scum,